I want to show Joe the star video.
Star video.
The star video, otherwise known as the cursor of the universe. Not cursor like swear word sayer, but cursor as in the thing that you move around with your mouse.
Wait a minute. There's a mouse controlling the universe?
Yeah.
Nice.
You'll see it.
I'd like to see the mouse controlling this thing. Where is it?
So I don't know.
I don't have the power.
Dude, there are hundreds and hundreds of pages, Joe, of what we're looking at here. Each one is a file, a PDF, and it may be a PDF that's hundreds of pages long. It's just unending.
These are all video files that we'll get to. I just really want to find.
These are lots of different people that have videotaped this.
No, Joe, this is military.
Military.
This was all top secret forever. But this happened, like this video here happened in 2023. I wish I need a way to just log these so I could find it better. I renamed it, but I can't find it. I think this is it.
Maybe not. Oh.
This is it.
That looks like an airplane.
Wait.
Does it move like an airplane?
No, it's writing.
I know, isn't it? It's leaving a that's why we call it the universe's cursor. See?
I think that's just video. The recording technology is leaving that because there's such a contrast between the black and the white.
Okay, but explain the movements. That doesn't move like any craft that we have.
So here's what I want to know. Are we debating that these are UAPs or are we debating as to whether or not this is a farce?
Well, here's the thing. We can, but the United States military, the Pentagon, already investigated all of these. They debated it themselves. They cross-referenced it with all of their aircraft and all known aircraft. These got filed in unidentifiable aerial phenomenon. So they could not identify what this was. They've never seen anything like this on their instrumentation. They know their cameras. They know everything. This was filed as top secret until yesterday.
Dude, what's that parachute-looking thing that's kind of swooping around?
Yeah, there's another thing.
I know. I've been looking at that too. I have no idea.
Huh.
But there's supposedly reports of 4-foot-tall creatures coming out of seen coming out of UFOs. And
again, the significance of this, David, is that these aren't UFO enthusiast footage.
No, this isn't some conspiracy theorist in a basement somewhere. Yeah, this is the Department of War declassifying top secret information that the first files that we're going to look at, they go back to the 30s.
Where there was a concerted effort with Project Blue Book and all those guys to, put the fake on the American people about what UFOs were.
Yep. And this is release 01. So we're assuming there's going to be at least 10 releases, if not more. It'll be in the double digits. And we're hoping that they just are transparent about all of that. We want to know if it is all fake and they were pulling one over on us. We want to know about it. But the first dump of files they put out, it's all unexplained stuff. They cannot explain it. And a lot of the reports you'll read they're just real people who were like, yeah, I saw this. And a lot of the videos you see, you can tell the pilot or whoever's operating the camera is like, what in the world is that? Like, it flies by the camera and they zoom out and they're like, where is that? And they find it and track it for a while. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that I don't think anyone's going to have any answers for, at least as far as these files go. But I'm hoping for a lot more files that with a lot more answers.
But what you're saying, Joe, is that the fact that they're releasing this and saying, we've had all this for 80 years or whatever it is,
Right.
they're admitting that they were lying about it the whole time. So,
Right. So I'm suspicious of the transparency of the transparency. Right. So if for some reason we're being manipulated and suddenly given the truth, I want to know what happened to that. Now they're going to give us the truth.
well, there's no question we're being manipulated.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's been,
Okay.
if we don't believe that by now, this entire file dump is the biggest, most obvious admission.
Look over there. Look over there.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're just saying, look, we've been lying to you for all these years.
Yes.
Or
But
Trump is saying they were lying to you for all
Yeah.
these years.
But to Joe's point, there are two conspiracy theories as to why now. And the first one that I've heard is to distract from the Epstein files. That's the big obvious one that the internet latches onto. The second one that Alex Jones today or yesterday came out and said is, this is a conspiracy theory that I've heard for a minute, but he thinks that they're feeding us this information so they can carry out a false flag operation and use technology that they have to stage some sort of alien invasion or the second coming of Christ or some sort of thing, but it's all just like a hologram or AI videos that they're putting out on the news or whatever it is, you know. So those are the conspiracy theories. But as far as why now, people have been demanding it, and I think Trump is just was like, okay, let's be transparent, because I know he's probably read them all or at least heard enough.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not. This
compared
is
to this kind of stuff, the Jeffrey Epstein thing is just peanuts. Who
Yeah.
cares about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's really, it stands alone. Yeah, I think it's so far beyond. I mean, it's the what single greatest event in human history that we've discovered we are not alone, and we've been working with extraterrestrial species for decades. There's no what is that? That's got to be the greatest discovery ever, right?
Well, if that's true, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, these files
that would free up. I mean, if that's true that we've been working with them, but for some reason the humans involved said, "Oh, humans can't handle it, but we can somehow," right? They hid the truth. That would be great, because then we can open it up and have relationships with them and technology, and let's get this thing moving.
Well, now here's the thing, Joe. In these files that the government has been talking about this aspect of it since the 30s and 40s. And there's a reason why they kept it secret, is because there's pages and pages of documents and emails and letters about the implications of releasing this information to the public and politically what it will do economically, socially. Like it could really, and with major religion around the world too, it's going to shake things up majorly. But and this release 01 of these files, the 160 something files, from what I've found, they mainly talk about unidentified aerial phenomenon. There's nothing about creatures or bodies or other dimensions, or there is one about a craft that appeared out of a ball of light. That was pretty crazy. But this dump is specifically about UFOs and unidentified things in the air. but just this dump alone is enough for me to know that they covered up way more than this. And they're gonna every few weeks they're gonna release dumps of files, and that's what this whole podcast is about to be. We're gonna go through all the files.
All right. Well, you know, the old saying, the truth will set you free, right? Give me the truth.
I don't know. It could actually imprison us.
Well, if
Right, this
everybody
is the
freaks
big
out,
grooming, so they can line us all up and shackle us and put us, take us to Donkey Island or wherever.
Donkey Island.
What's the Pinocchio place?
Pinocchio, Pleasure Island. Is it
Pleasure
Pleasure
Island, but
Island?
it didn't turn out to be pleasurable. It turned out to be, they all turned into
You just jumped to
asses.
donkeys?
I don't want to go to the donkeys.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, we don't know. Here's that to me, that's the big question.
Yeah, we don't know.
Who are they?
Who are they? Well, let's dig in. Let's see. So, Joe, this is the old Department of Defense website, war.gov/UFO. And there's 17 pages of files.
Yeah.
And let's just, so I'm going to copy this. I'm just doing all the work as well. Let's just start looking.
While you're searching, I mean, have you, Joe? I don't want to miss. My take so far is that all the Apollo, they had spaceships and everything along
Yeah.
the way, orbs of light filling their capsule or whatever, standing on the moon taking pictures of massive spaceships,
Right.
sort of surrounding the moon. It's just,
Yeah, Joe,
why?
take a look at this picture. I'm going to find the one picture, Dad.
Of the giant device.
Yeah.
The device. The donkey device.
Yeah. Well, can you?
There it is,
Look
Joe.
at that.
That's on the moon.
So is that is showing a blow up of what it is? It's way off in a distance. And is it a structure on the moon or is it in space? It's in space. Not on the ground.
That could be just a weird light artifact from the sun or something. But I've looked at it for 3 seconds and I have no idea.
And you are the expert. We brought you here for a reason.
The professor speaks. That is what's scientifically known as a weird light artifact from the sun.
A weird pole of light.
It's not a pole. It's got a big knobby on the end of it.
You're a big knobby.
I think it's like the Stratosphere Hotel.
The thing
and
is,
they sold tickets to this thing, watched the Americans, land on the moon, and those were like premium. You got a balcony, steak dinner, you're good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's all those crazy pictures, published Apollo pictures of rocks in front of the crosshairs, and the line that they're saying behind that line is a screen. I mean, you guys.
Oh, you mean that it's all.
Yeah.
What is this going to do to that whole theory that we never went to the moon when they show pictures of spacecraft in the air taken from the perspective of standing in the moon? I mean, could all this just be complete? I hate the world. You can't tell what's real at all. How do you know what's anything anymore?
Yeah.
I know. It's a valid conspiracy that this is all fabricated to regain control of everybody.
Yeah. I actually did a quick question on an AI about what the AI thinks about people's fears of AI, and they said the biggest fear is that people are not going to know what's real and fake.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're over 30, right? If you're a little bit older, you're like, well, how do we know what's real? You know, because when you look at that picture of the moon, it could be, I could generate that.
Yeah. 100%. And there are also people who are professional Photoshop editors. So if they get a really good AI image and then Photoshop it and edit it, tweak it, make it look even more real, it's even better. But
Here's
okay.
the thing, though. Here's the thing. These files are one line of evidence, and they corroborate stories that have been told in, in the media, amongst our families since the 30s, 40s, 50s. My grandfather saw a UFO. He's a World War II guy. So, it's not like, if these are AI faked, then why would they do that? I mean, when they have, how many videos of UFOs are on people's cell phones, right? But they're going to say, oh, well, they're faking it in the sky too. And then it's just that there's no point in living anymore. There's no point in, there's no point.
No, that's the whole point of this. This is the point of these files. Let's see what is like undeniably real.
Hey, baby, you are born into a world with extraterrestrials.
Okay, everyone, time out.
Let's go.
Well, let me tell you where I'm at from my perspective. So I was telling Hannah, my wife Hannah, this today. I said just what they released in this first batch of files. When it came to UFOs in the sky, the only thing that I knew for sure is that there were unidentified things flying around in the sky, because I've seen enough to know that was not a plane or a helicopter. What the heck was that? But I knew our government also knew they were just denying it for a long time. What I don't know and what I don't believe is true yet is I believe it could be, but is that we've made contact. We have a relationship with them. There's reptilians out there, that kind of. I don't know that. So for what I already knew was true, that's already been validated by these files. So anything that I learn after this is gonna blow my mind. Anything new I learn after this is gonna blow my mind. These files just completely validated what I already knew was true. So I'm just going into this with a completely open mind that we could have contact with them. We could, you never know. So yeah, I mean, I think it's also good to question things too, but I think a lot of this evidence is going to be pretty solid evidence. There's a lot of video evidence.
I don't want them to be reptilians. That sounds scary.
They are scary.
Crocodile Man?
Yeah. Now the amphibians, they're way cool. Seriously. The amphibians are way better than the reptilians. Huh?
The thing is, I don't believe that they're necessarily scary. Right? Aliens don't have to be.
Well, that argument is that if they were scary, then why haven't they destroyed us by now? They could have destroyed us, come down, taken over, anything they want, anytime. But they've obviously, maybe they're just waiting for just the right moment, for, the right amount of global warming. So our meat is more tender or something,
Well, if we are, let's say they're 10,000 years ahead of us technologically, right? Into whatever it is, then we're just like insignificant, right? We're just like ants.
Like little babies, but
yeah, we don't care about ants.
Yeah, but they could be us traveling back from the future.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, my point is, I'm open to the idea that they're friendly, not because they have some vested interest. Maybe the ancient astronaut theory is true, and they're part of who created us or what have
That's
you.
my favorite
Maybe
one.
they came along at some point. They've got some reason not to destroy us and to perhaps it's tolerate us in our little, in our infancy. It's AI that we probably have to worry about. It's not going to tolerate us that long.
It sure would be nice if we are, members of their family. That would be super nice.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And they're coming back.
Now get this, Dad.
Did great.
So you said they don't want to destroy us. There's some evidence that's proving that they not only don't want to destroy us, they want to keep us from destroying ourselves. So
like
look at this.
Prevented nuclear wars and stuff.
Yeah. So this is the very first file, FBI. But
so what's in the manila envelope here?
Just this first file, there are reports of multiple sightings near strategic installations. One of those being Los Alamos. And there have been, not necessarily in these files that I know of, but there have been reports of UFOs near nuclear installations and nuclear storage facilities.
What year was this?
This was September 6, 1966. Sincerely yours, John Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover. Wait, what did he say?
Your letter of August 31st with enclosures has been received, and I appreciate the interest which prompted you to write. In response to your inquiry, this bureau is strictly an investigative agency of the federal government, and as such, neither makes evaluations nor draws conclusions as to the character or integrity of any organization, publication, or individual. I'm sorry I cannot be of assistance to you. However, you may be sure your communication will be made a matter of record.
So somebody's like going to a higher up for help and he's going, sorry. Right?
Yeah. So this is the letter to J. Edgar Hoover from Mrs. Florence C. Dow. I'm a member of NICAP, very much interested in UFO flying saucers. Several weeks ago, a fellow employee received a letter from Arizona with a stamp on the back.
This is a kind of a nothing burger, it seems.
Yeah, but okay, so let's go to page 12. So the Gemini gave me references. So page 12 is a bunch of old newspaper clippings.
So these newspaper clippings are in the FBI files.
Yes, these were top secret.
Well, they weren't top secret. They were published in the newspaper.
That's brilliant commentary, Joe.
I'm here to.
I mean, they don't get anything past you, do they? You are not to be fooled.
Well,
I think it's top secret that the government is tracking those things, though. They didn't want anyone to know that they were clipping those. Doesn't matter.
Look, somebody drew a hamburger right in the newspaper.
A hamburger that looks like a UFO.
So
look at all these.
I know. Look, and there's just pages. UFO sighted. I'm looking for the one specifically about Los Alamos.
Well, there's definitely that thought that after we let off the first nuclear bomb test,
yes,
when we caught their attention in space.
Yeah. Yeah, like we could destroy the neighborhood or something, right? We've bothered the neighbors.
Right. Yeah.
Or even the act of here's a theory is that literally the act of splitting the atom and creating an explosion that big was like a signal in the universe. Like it released energy that was detectable from a long way away.
Right.
And they went, whoa, and they popped up.
Everybody went, huh?
Yeah.
And then
they went, these primitive apes are about to blow themselves up. We need to stop this.
And in theory, they have actually stopped silos from.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some stories.
Okay, so the FBI, while J. Edgar Hoover was denying that he could be of any assistance, he was collecting newspaper clippings.
Dude, look at this headline. More than 5 million people say they saw a flying saucer.
Good grief!
Hey, on this, can
Gallup
you
polls.
actually read it? Can you read these newspaper articles?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I need to zoom way out though, because my Gemini is.
40 see flying saucers.
But yeah, I can zoom. These are all very high quality. These are
Those are
like
pretty good pictures.
scans of the actual newspaper clippings.
Hold on, go back
Right.
to the pictures, David. Right there. I mean, again,
These remarkable
this-
photos of flying saucers were taken by Dr. Daniel W. Fry, president of Understanding Inc. of P.O. Box 76, Merlin, Oregon, 97532.
and so the UFO kept these photos, or the FBI kept these photos, and they classified them top secret. That means
Yeah,
they believe.
this
Well,
would.
that doesn't
Okay, so
mean-
hold
I
on,
don't know
Dad.
what it means.
You got to remember what this file is. This is a letter to J. Edgar Hoover. So the FBI did not compile this. Someone compiled this and sent it to J. Edgar Hoover, and J. Edgar Hoover said, "All right, we're gonna mark this top secret." I don't know if that's exactly how it happened, but at some point it was marked top secret.
Which means my point in that, if they're going to market top secret, then they must be giving it some sort of weight.
Hold on, you guys. Okay, I need to read this. I need to read all this because we just went to the first thing and went, holy shit. This is talking about, okay, the file details the FBI's role in coordinating with the Air Force's Office of Special Investigations, OSI, to track and analyze sightings, often treating them as potential national security threats or foreign espionage, which is naturally what you would do, treat it as if your enemy is spying on you from the air. But what they found.
Look at the suppression of public information.
There are internal directives suggesting that certain sightings should be downplayed to the press to avoid public hysteria or to protect sensitive surveillance. Okay, page 89.
Look at quote, "It is the policy of the department to discourage any public speculation regarding these sightings which may lead to unnecessary alarm or reveal the extent of our investigative interest." There it is right there. Don't tell anyone, and don't even tell them how much we're looking into it.
Well, and I could see that would be their take because they have no idea, right? They get this envelope of information and they're like, oh yeah, that's a lot of preponderance of evidence, but we don't know. So no sense in getting everybody upset when we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I disagree entirely because of what the issue is. It's a question of whether or not it's kind of they know we're not alone in the universe, or at least they know there's a good chance. And so you're basically saying with an issue like this, it's okay for the government just not to be transparent, right? They can keep it from us because they have a right to know and we don't.
No, I'm saying that there could easily have been as much shock at the FBI, right?
Yeah.
And go, what are we going to do with this information? We don't know if it's true.
Right.
But if it gets out, it could really upset a bunch of people. So then after that, right, after the 60s or 70s, if they have more corroborating information, then it's more of a cover up. And that's what I want to, I sure hope that we are in talks with the aliens.
Probably our only hope that they're, friends and they can. But there's nothing in here on Roswell, right, David?
Yeah, not in this file, but this is file 1 of 160 something.
And what year did you say this is all from?
This is from the 60s, I believe. It was, yeah, I mean, it was sent to J. Edgar Hoover, so. I need to really quick just do this. Then see if this works.
It is amazing that these news clippings are like 600 people watch 40 UFOs, you know, and it's just what, one article? I mean, there's got to be follow-up stories. How about interviewing some? I would like, that's why I said, can you read it? Because hopefully that there's some interviews of the witnesses.
Yeah. But there are, Joe. So I say, just for purposes of this podcast, let's just look at another file. So we did file 1. I gotta make this spreadsheet look a lot better. So file 2.
Oh, Apollo briefing.
Is Apollo 17 crew debriefing. Oh, no. That was on page 15. Okay. File 2.
Let's do that one.
This right here, incident summaries, Joe. I think this is the right one. So these are old files. Each one of these pages is an incident report of someone seeing a UFO. And these are their direct reports. 1948 are these files mainly, I believe. But every single one of these is someone's individual report. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Observer's position, ground southwest from Plaza of Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, this is a checklist. That's good.
Name and address of the observer, occupation and or hobbies. Attention attracted by, saw object glint while watching another aircraft. Number of objects seen, 1. Size of object, at least 100 to 150 feet in diameter. Color of objects, white. Shape, perfectly flat in appearance compared to dime in the sky. Nature of luminosity? Yeah. Sighted in daylight. Altitude 25 to 30,000 feet. Stationary at times sighted. Time in sight 15 or 20 minutes. Very little movement, if any, noted. No sound. Dude, so like every 2 pages, let's say, every 2 pages is an individual report, and there are, let's see, 144 pages in this one report, and there are 1, 2, 3 FBI reports from that time.
It could be 500 eyewitnesses.
Easily. And that is just from probably a few years time frame. So it's so much to go through. And there are people right now who have started reading it themselves, but there's videos and pictures, and But these descriptions are just as important. They didn't have cameras in their pocket back then.
Well, it seems like with Gemini, you could get all, especially since they have that checklist, right? Then you can get, how many people saw white colors? How many people saw, a
Yep.
flat object or a round object?
Yep. And that's one reason why I'm doing this spreadsheet too. I'm doing the Department of War notes and then the Gemini notes. For every single one.
It's going to show up at your house any minute.
I know, that's what I told my wife. Said if anyone bangs on the door, maybe don't answer it. But let's go. Do you remember what page that?
15.
So here's Apollo 12, Apollo 17. Here's the Apollo 11 one, if you guys want to read what Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong said.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, let's do that one. The most famous one.
Most famous, but interestingly enough, not the most epic of the NASA files. Apollo 17 has some crazy stuff, but also stuff very similar to what we're about to read in this Apollo 11 file. So this one's not that long. It's worth just reading. Can you guys read it at all?
I can't.
Nope.
You have to make it bigger. I mean, yeah. If you can zoom in, I can read it.
We were enjoying your reading voice, David.
Oh, I can do different voices for Aldrin and Collins and Armstrong.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you guys read that at all? Is that good?
I can read it. Okay, Collins is interviewing Armstrong.
Hold on. Who was the full crew?
Go back up. See who's in the room.
Aldrin,
Armstrong,
and Collins, right? Collins was the guy who never got to get on the moon. He was in the space.
He was on the mission. I sadly don't know enough about it, but this is them giving their post mission report. This is the crew debriefing.
Okay.
The private, or this is for the press? Oh, it says
no, this is confidential. This is for NASA, for the government. And this is confidential. Confidential was just scratched out, I believe. I don't know. Some of these files have been released. I don't know if this one has, but this is crazy.
You want me to read it?
Sure.
I think this is Collins. I think particularly when you get into the later flights of extended EVAs and lunar activity, somehow the crew must place themselves in a frame of mind of looking on the separation of the LM as the beginning of the flight plan, and to relax, get plenty of sleep, and conserve their energies and all the events leading up to that point. To arrive in lunar orbit tired can create problems, and it's possible to do that if you don't approach it in the right frame of mind. Armstrong. I think Mike's hit the nail on the head. We did precisely that. We got a lot of rest, got into lunar orbit, eager to go to work, and that's a particularly fortunate position to be in. Collins, this is something we've talked about before. Nice, relaxing, blah, 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 blah. Keep going. Aldrin chimes in. The first unusual thing that we saw, I guess, was one day out or something pretty close to the moon. It had a sizable dimension to it, so we put the monocular on it. Collins says, how did we see this thing? Did we just look out the window and there it was? Aldrin, yes, we weren't sure, but what it might be, the S-IVB. We called the ground and we're told the SIVB was 6,000 miles away. We had a problem with the high gain about this time, didn't we? There was something, we felt a bump or maybe just imagined it.
Felt a bump?
Armstrong says he was wondering whether the mesa had come off. Collins, I don't guess we felt anything. Aldrin, of course, we were seeing all sorts of little objects going by at the various dumps, and then we happened to see this one brighter object going by. We couldn't think of anything else it could be other than the SIVB. We looked at it through the binocular, and it seemed to have a bit of an L shape to it. Armstrong, like an open suitcase. Aldrin, we were at PTC at the time, so each one of us had a chance to take a look at this, and it certainly seemed to be within our vicinity and of a very sizable dimension. This is earth-shattering
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know how people are taking it, but I mean, this whole entire time when they were being broadcast on television, they seemed to have forgot this part. Armstrong, we should say that it was right at the limit of the resolution of the eye. It's very difficult to tell just what shape it was, and there's no way to tell the size without knowing the range, or the range without knowing the size. Aldrin. So then I got down into the LEB and started looking for it in the optics. We were grossly misled because with the sextant off focus, what we saw appeared to be a cylinder, or really two rings. Aldrin, yes. Armstrong, two rings, two connected rings. Colin, no, it looked like a hollow cylinder to me. It didn't look like two connected rings. You could see this thing tumbling, and when it came around and on, you could look right down its guts. It was a hollow cylinder, but then you could change the focus on the sextant, and it would be replaced by this open book shape. It was really weird. Aldrin, I
Okay.
guess that's not too much more to say about it other than it wasn't a cylinder.
Hold on a second. Hold on. So I looked up what the S-IVB was,
Yeah.
and they're saying it's the third stage of the Saturn V rocket.
Okay.
Oh, so
So that's why
they
they're
thought,
comparing it to a cylinder.
Yeah.
and they
But it
thought
was
it was like
6,000 miles
floating
away.
by them,
Yeah.
but it was 6,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Space is pretty
So
relative. Yeah.
it gets crazier, guys.
Collins, it was during the period when we thought it was a cylinder that we inquired about the SIVB, and we'd almost convinced ourselves that's what it had to be. But we don't have any more conclusions than that, really. The fact that we didn't see it much past this one time period, we really don't have a conclusion as to what it might have been, how big it was, or how far away it was. It was something that wasn't part of the urine dump. We were pretty sure of that. That's enough to go on. It isn't pee, so let's keep moving. Skipping ahead a bit, when we jettisoned the LM, we fired an explosive charge and got rid of the docking rings, and the LM went boom. Pieces came off the LM. It could have been some mylar or something that had somehow come loose from the LM. Aldrin, we thought it could have been a panel, but it didn't appear to have that shape at all. Collins, that's right. And for some reason, we thought it might have been part of the high gain antenna. Might have been about the time we had high gain antenna problems. In the back of my mind, I have some reason to suspect that it was that its origin was from the spacecraft. That's Collins.
Yeah, that would make logical sense.
Yeah. Aldrin, the other observation that I made accumulated gradually. I don't know whether I saw it the first night, but I'm sure I saw it the second night. I was trying to go to sleep with all the lights out. I observed what I thought were little flashes inside the cabin, spaced a couple of minutes apart, and I didn't think too much about it other than just note in my mind that they continued to be there. I couldn't explain why my eye would see these flashes. During Trans-Earth Coast, we had more time, and I devoted more opportunity to investigating what this could have been. It was at this point that I was able to observe on two different occasions that instead of observing just one flash, I could see double flashes at points separated maybe by a foot. At other times, I could see a line with no direction of motion, and the only thing that comes to my mind is that this is some sort of penetration. At least that's my guess, without much to support it. Some penetration of some object into the spacecraft that causes an emission as it enters the cabin itself. Sometimes it was one flash on entering, possibly departing from an entirely different part of the cabin. That's all I can see. Outside the field of view, the double flashes appeared to have an entry and then an impact on something such as the struts. For a while, I thought it might have been some static electricity, because I was also able, in moving my hand up and down the sleep restraint, to generate very small sparks of static electricity. But there's a definite difference between the two as I observed it more and more. I tried to correlate this with the direction of the sun. When you put the window shades up, there is still a small amount of leakage. You can generally tell within 20 or 30 degrees the direction of the sun. It seemed as though they were coming from that general direction. However, I really couldn't say if there was near enough evidence to support that these things were observable on the side of the spacecraft where the sun was. A little bit of evidence seemed to support this. I asked the others if they had seen any of these, and until about the last day, they hadn't. Armstrong, Buzz, I'd seen some light, but I just always attributed this to sunlight because the window covers leak a little bit of light no matter how tightly secured. The only time they can't get their freaking windows blacked out either, can
They're flying through space.
I've been in a hotel how many times? All right.
A problem for all humanity.
Yes, that's right.
They can't even get airplane windows in those things. Airplane shutters.
Armstrong, the only time, like, what did they have? Little pull down things like that up there?
Little curtains?
Anyway. Buzz, I'd seen some light. Armstrong, Buzz, I'd seen some light, but it always attributed to the sunlight because the window covers. The only time I observed it was the last night when we really looked for it. I spent probably an hour carefully watching the inside of the spacecraft, and I probably made 50 significant observations in this period. Oh, that's pretty good.
Armstrong sat around for an hour.
Just
what's happening?
Just tripping on little lights going off while they're flying. Sometimes a minute or two would go by. This is Aldrin. Sometimes a minute or two would go by, and then you'd see the two within the space of 10 seconds. On an average, I'd say, just as a guess, it was maybe something like 1 minute. Certainly more than enough to convince you that it wasn't an optical illusion. It did give you a rather funny feeling to contemplate that something was zapping through the cabin. There wasn't anything you could do about it. Armstrong. Huh?
Talk about scary.
Armstrong, it could be something like Buzz suggested, mainly a neutron or some kind of atomic particle that would be in the visible spectrum.
Boom.
Yeah, a neutron, when it does react with something, it can slow down enough, I've heard, that it'll give you kind of a over here type of, oh, what was that, right?
Yeah.
Neutrons are weird.
One minor observation, returning from the moon, this is Aldrin, looking back at it at the time after Mars had passed behind the moon, there's one time period where I imagined that the image of Mars was coming from a region where it couldn't come from because it was a dark portion of the moon. It was in a dark portion of the moon. This obviously was an optical illusion of some sort. Armstrong, I suspect it was, in fact, just immediately adjacent to the horizon. Aldrin, we must have looked at immediately after it come home from the backside. Yes.
Observed what appeared to be a fairly bright light source, which we tentatively ascribed to a possible laser. That seemed to be the best possible explanation until we were coming back into the command module, approaching the Earth, and were able to observe something that gave about the same appearance. When putting the binocular on the light source, it appeared as though it was the reflection of the sun from a reflectively smooth body of water, such as a lake. What?
That's when they're coming back.
They're just getting beamed by a reflection? I think we revised our initial conclusion as to what the source of that light was that we saw coming from the Earth. If no one owns up to having beamed the laser toward the moon at that time, it was more probably a reflection off a lake. I still
Of the
think it's an
sun.
unusual phenomenon.
So this whole Apollo 11 debriefing wasn't like earth shattering, doesn't seem.
No, I mean it's interesting. Like they saw some things that no one could explain. Like,
Well, they're describing an experience that nobody else had, right? Which is being in space.
Yeah.
yes,
And they're trying to describe anything that was outside of being on the Earth, I think.
Right.
yeah, and we'll see that like the Apollo 17 crew. I read just clips of it, and they were seeing those same lights that were coming into their cabin. The same lights appearing, and they were counting hundreds of them. So it's really interesting. I'm glad we jumped into the Apollo 11 one because that's a good one. But we're gonna go through all of them. Let's go through all of them. That's the point of this podcast for anybody listening. If anybody is listening, we're gonna go through every file and dig into them. So we'll see where this takes us. This is release 1. We have no idea how many releases there are going to be, but from what I've read, they're going to release every few weeks. A lot of the early files up in the first few pages are their old stuff, like the incident date. Nothing's even filled out because it's all typewritten stuff. 1948, 1945. There's crazy related to night phenomena, Foo Fighters, flak rockets, unidentified cylindrical objects, and blinking lights. The documents include multiple references to the observations of the 415th Night Fighter Squadron. Dude. So we need to go through every single one.
It's all weather balloons. We don't have anything. We've never had it.
Well, I always thought it would be awesome to gather all the information that we have about the Foo Fighters and analyze that and see what similarities all the reports have.
That could be your spin-off podcast, Joe.
Yeah.
No, there's just so much that we should hop around, but I need to track it somehow. So we go through all of it. Me personally, I don't want to leave any stone unturned. I want to see what they've been hiding from us. And it doesn't matter. You might see old documents and think, oh, that's super old. Who cares? I guarantee a lot of people are going to think that. These are secrets that have been conspiracies since the 30s and 40s that they've been hiding, and they're real now.
Yeah, the point is, I mean, the Apollo stuff is the best because, I mean,
it's awesome.
We weren't expecting that, but as far as pictures of the saucers, we've all seen so many of those. Those aren't new. What's new is that the government is now saying these are real.
But not only that, Dad, because one of the ways they gaslit everyone into thinking they're not real is they denied even investigating it from the beginning.
Yes.
Right.
And they just released documents that proved they have documented as much as they possibly can since the very beginning. So they didn't stop. They didn't stop doing it, especially once they realized they can keep it a secret. They got the propaganda down. They released pictures. They released the drawing of a little green man or whatever, and comic books took over or whatever it was. They just used propaganda to gaslight everyone and call everyone crazy. But this just proved it. This just proved they've been hiding everything.
They're going to have to do a thing that says to all the people involved, we're not going to prosecute you for hiding this from the American. Otherwise, we'll never get the full truth if they're, not not protected, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing revolutions are made of.
Yeah, me personally though, I love the government and I would never I just investigating.
I'm doing the Boy
Scouts on.
Scout.
Scouts on.
I think the government needs to stop thinking that they're smarter than the people.
Well, that's kind of what's happening. I mean, I feel they're at least being transparent about a few things.
I mean, that's the thing. The thing I don't buy, the thing of, oh, we don't want to cause mass hysteria, BS. It wouldn't necessarily. How about if you release it in such a way, not like Orwell did, where people were jumping off buildings, right? Because he tricked everybody. But you could actually tell everybody you don't even have to say you know what's going on. All you have to do is say, we're safe right now. According to everything that we can tell.
Nobody would believe you anymore, though. It would still be math. Nobody would believe that, though. It would be math. Because the first thought would be, how can you protect us from these things that you can't?
So then, is it just time for mass hysteria now? I mean, if that were true, wouldn't the country already be, in need of a straitjacket? These are released. I mean, are people going to go crazy now, start jumping off buildings? Because they're releasing it now. Why now?
Yeah, you brought up the Orwell incident, right? When they were reading that and people freaked out and like we're shooting at the full moon and maybe
just so if anyone's listening, just so they know, that's the War of the Worlds, the original radio broadcast that you're talking about, right? In the 40s.
Which depicted the Earth as being actively under attack right now.
Right.
At a time when, if you heard it on the radio, it had to be true. So it's a little apples and oranges.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe today's people would take it better.
Yeah.
We've been groomed to take it better.
But what we're not going to take well is these files are already showing that they're like, let's just not tell anybody. How about that?
They're internal directives. We're encouraging everybody not to say anything. Yeah. We don't want mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs living together.
I think we should have them not know anything.
See, that is not thinking of the public as anything more than irrational children, which is about right. So, I don't even know. Yep. But here it is.
There it is.
And here's the other thing. We don't know who the extraterrestrials are. And, one line of thought is they insisted that it be covered up. And now they are the ones who gave the directive to release it. I mean, if they're there, don't you think they might want to have a say in something this massive?
Whoa. That's an angle.
Maybe they are. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. We're going to read all the files, man.
The answers will be revealed, no?
So let me ask you something about the file release. Is it just raw data or was it combed through by, do we know?
It was combed through, and that's one reason why they're doing it chunk by chunk. At least that's what they say. That's one reason why they're doing it chunk by chunk, is because there's so much data that they're going in and they're redacting personal information from people who are still alive or who could be affected by the release of the files. Essentially, that's my understanding of what they're saying. So chunk by chunk, we'll get them. My theory is that each batch is going to get a little bit more intense, and we're going to end up with the full truth. And it's going to, I just don't think anything's going to be the same ever again. Ever. At once all the files are released, after a year of the last batch being released, and the public has had time to really dissect every file and get the word out about what's in them, if society is the same, then they won. We're all just desensitized and programmed, because this is crazy.
Well, and I really think there's a very small percent of the population that are going to do an analysis like you're talking about doing, David.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's
But
why
it's-
we're
it's
recording
gonna
it,
be
and
out
I want to
there.
get it out.
Yeah, it's going to be drowned with all the other data that's pouring in on us all the time.
Yep.
Right.
And
1 week is a long time.
Yep. And I want to be relentless with it. I want, like, I don't know how many times we're going to record a week, but I want to go through the files and see what's in it and log everything in a way that makes sense to me, where I can search through it and pull data from it.
Yeah.
But I'm still figuring that part out. And we're still figuring out how to do a podcast. If anyone's still listening to this, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so bear with me.
It seems like you know what you're doing.
I'm figuring it out, but I want to do this. This is the disclosure event, I think. And here's the thing too. I'm also aware that all the files could be released, and it could all just be unexplained stuff, and there's nothing in it about contact or beings or anything. But the first thing that people on the internet are going to say are release all the files. No one's going to believe it, because just this batch of files alone has already confirmed enough conspiracy theories that people are going to believe all the other ones are true. So that's why I want to go through them and see what is true.
But you already found talk of collaboration, sharing technology, right?
No, not in these files necessarily. But it's a huge conspiracy theory that there's shared technology, that we recover craft and we reverse engineer technology, that there's some sort of that they helped us advance our society in some way. But that hopefully that's what these files talk about. Let's see. Let's get into the government organizations that nobody's heard of until now. It's going to be crazy. So this is episode 1.
We found an organization in here where the memos were like, they had a log of events being, UFO events being reported in from around the world, and then a log of their responses. Yeah, we resolved that one by telling me it was a weather balloon.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to see everything. We already saw evidence of the cover up. It's going to be awesome.